It's the middle of May, and I was thinking I'd like to come and do a show on a technique that we use a lot this time of year, and that's deep cranking. Fish a lot of times are post-spawn, they're looking for smaller baits, and a lot of times you got to use a weighting system to get them down deep, the crankbaits, to catch fish. So I was trying to think of a place that had a lot of fish, and right away Francis Case, one of the reservoirs on the Missouri River system, came to mind. So I called up my friends Tom and Nova at the Platte Creek Lodge, and they set me up with Greg here. They call him the Fishman. The Fishman because he loves to pull around crankbaits. So me and Craig are going to go out on Francis Case. We're going to pull around some crankbaits deep. Hopefully I can show you how the new flicker shad works even early in the year, and hopefully we'll show you the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite. Just looking for the next bite.
And I tell you what, the monsters are in here.
You know, this is a popular fishing area with all these lakes around here.
The next bite.
The next bite.
Francis Case is a large reservoir on the Missouri River in South Dakota, with a surface area over 100,000 acres and a maximum depth of 140 feet. It's riddled with an abundance of walleye holding structure.
Today we're here at Lake Francis Case. We're about right in the middle of the reservoir, 110-mile reservoir, and we're targeting fish that are sitting in about 25 to 30 foot of water. And the reason why they're here is basically for recuperating after the spawn and food. And you find some bait and you find good marks on the bottom and you'll be successful catching fish.
Professional angler Keith Kavajecz has always said that the Missouri River is his favorite place to fish, and that's because he loves the thrill of the hunt.
When I say it looks like there's a mouth on them, when they're coming in, you can kind of gauge how big the fish is by how round their mouth is.
Yeah.
So we want one about that round.
Yeah, bucket mouth, huh?
There are lots of fish in the Francis Case Reservoir and not much in the way of angling pressure. Combine these two factors with post-spawn hungry walleyes, and you have the perfect hat trick for tripping Keith's already obsessive walleye fishing trigger finger.
Stand down.
Yeah. I take and I collapse that rod down so it stays a little tighter on the inside of the boat for lure spread. It's nice and easy to pull out and get your full fighting length.
Walleyes relating to structure are usually near the bottom. So between this and that, Keith and Greg are marking fish spread out over the course of a mile or more at a time. Trolling is the most effective technique for their approach.
That is an awesome bait. I'm very impressed.
For further eliminating water.
Yeah, they're just new out this year, so.
While targeting sharp breaks.
I think I'm gonna have to stock a supply in my boat now.
Now I might know a guy who could leave you a couple.
Okay, I'd surely appreciate it. Yeah, it looks like it's decent fish.
Yeah, he came right to the surface, but he's got a decent sized mouth on him, you know.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think?
I didn't get the net.
All right.
Why wouldn't we?
He's ready for you.
Here we go.
Nice fish.
There you go.
That's a dandy.
Sauger.
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 That's a little better sauger.
Yeah. Kind of why his mouth got pried open, hit it right on that middle hook like that.
Yeah, yeah, he was hungry.
Yeah, that'll work.
You bet.
Got him a little underneath here to get the fight a little bit better, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a sauger.
Yeah.
You can see the black dots on them. That's how you can tell a sauger. Typically not quite as chunky fat, but the little, you can tell when you hit that rod.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, here you go, bud. Go.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkley, catch more fish. And Power Pole, total boat control. Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by Precision Trolling Data, the authority for crankbait diving depth information.
If you look out at the shoreline here, you'll see the water in the reservoir is really, really high this year. What that's caused is that a lot of the grass and the buckbrush and just weeds and stuff, debris are down on the bottom here. So when you're fishing these crankbaits, it's important to be really close to the bottom because that's where the fish are, is on the bottom, but you don't want to be pounding the bottom. If you pound the bottom even a couple, 3 times, you're going to have a piece of brush on there. It is the reason we're using no stretch lines, so we can kind of monitor that. But basically, me and Greg are continuously reeling up a little, dropping down a little, trying to stay really close to the bottom because that's where the fish are.
Keith and Greg are breaking down this Missouri River reservoir bite by working it in sections. There are just so many options and so much structure that first they start by looking for sheer cliff areas.
Right at the start of this bluff, huh?
Then graphing and marking fish in areas where they can see a sharper break line is present on their electronics.
Like the looks of that.
Nice fish.
What is of particular interest is where they can find a point that perhaps extends out into their target water depth or beyond. This way they can wrap around its naturally sharper drop-offs as they deep troll their crankbait spread for these Francis Case post-spawn walleye.
Here's a good one, Gabe.
30-foot deep that was.
Yeah.
160 lead, I think, huh?
160.
And the feeling?
It's a healthy one.
Huh. I think that's code for get the net. A healthy one.
Yes, sir.
I can do that. I can do that. It's a Wallace.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah. I thought you said it was a super small one. This ain't too bad. That ain't too bad.
That's a nice one.
Ghost glitter. Ghost glitter. I mean, to come out here and catch a ton of these is just a riot. Running baits down 30 foot. Finding some walleyes. Very, very nice. Very nice. All right, bud, here you go.
Total Control, presented by Power Pole. 20 years of trust evolved from Total Boat Control.
This is the ideal situation. I have a weed line that's stretched out right in front of me, kind of with the wind. And yet I have a real strong wind that's coming in here. If I was fishing alone, I'd probably just put the power pole down and then fish off the bow to cover the edge of that weed line. But let's face it, the majority of fishing that's done today is done with multiple people in the boat. And on a day like today, it can be a mess to have everybody catching fish because really it's a tough wind to position your boat in. There's a simple solution. I put my power pole down on the shallow end of this weed line and anchor it and stick it right in. And then I'll take my trolling motor and I'll turn the boat crossways to the wind, just like if we'd have an anchor on both ends, and then I'll have the GPS lock on the trolling motor. You can see now I've got the boat set up that way. We're totally sideways to the wind. Envision 3 people in the boat. You'd have a person in the middle, person in the bow. All 3 of us now can fish and jig the edge of that weed line. So it's a wonderful way to increase your fish catch during the day. So with the addition of this power pole, you can do some amazing things to help you catch multiple fish for all the anglers in the boat.
Earlier in the summer like this, a lot of times you're going to find fish deeper on structure, especially in lakes and reservoirs. And that's what we have here. The fish are down 25, 30 foot deep. But what's interesting is either based on the size of the fish you're catching or just because they are eating smaller forage, many times this time of year, you're going to be fishing with smaller crankbaits that can't get down that deep on their own. And that's why you use a weighting system like Leadcore. Leadcore is one of my favorite ways to fish on structure, mainly because I can get these baits down fairly quickly, and Leadcore Leadcore does a good job of following the boats around those contours. Now, when you start looking at Leadcore line, I like to use an 18-pound test Leadcore. 18-pound has a lot of lead in it for the diameter that it has, so it'll get those baits down fairly quick. I also like using the Leadcores that have the Dacron sheath around them, mainly because they do follow the boat better. You get too thin of a line, and you're going to find out that it's very difficult for it to nice and gradually follow that boat around those contours. Now, I like to spool up a full reel of Leadcore. That way, if I want to fish down 50 or 60 feet, I got enough lead. If you find yourself fishing less water, though, like you're only going to fish 30 feet or shallower, you can certainly just put 4 or 5 colors on your reels. Now, as far as reels, make sure you got a line counter reel, but make sure it's big enough. This is a 30 style line counter reel, so it's a little bit bigger, going to hold that thicker Leadcore. Once you get past your Leadcore, then somewhere up the line, you're going to put just a swivel here, number 12, 14, maybe a 16. It's got to go through your eyelets and through your reel, and then you're going to put on a leader. I typically run about a 15-foot leader. I want a no stretch line for this so that I can monitor the lure, and down at the end here, I just put on a simple small little clip, and then of course my crankbait. So this system allows me to very easily monitor how much line I got out. It allows me to very easily get baits down close to the bottom, and it's going to position those smaller crankbaits right in front of the walleyes when you're fishing structure early in the year.
This looks like a good one.
Yeah, even with that ball on there, it looks like a good one.
Yeah.
Is it a big fish on a big ball?
Feels pretty good.
Big balls and big fish, huh?
Yeah, ba, 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 ba.
A lot of bees. A lot of bees. Yeah, he's staying down.
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
that ball is going to hold him down for a while.
Yeah.
Seems like right on the corner of this little bluff here, we're marking them good.
There's the weight.
A little closer. Yeah. There we go. Felt like a pretty good one, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the net. Felt pretty good, just the weight of it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh yeah, I like the looks of this one. Maybe just keep it inside that Leadcore right towards me here.
Okay.
Nice fish, very nice fish. Bring him a little tighter, come on. You gotta do that right outside the net.
Yeah, good job. Nice fish.
Oh, that is a nice fish.
Dandy.
Oh, you sneaky bugger. You put a different color on. That's not fair.
You gotta take all the advantage I can get with you.
Oh yeah, well, that's all right. This is one of them fire tails, got the bright red tail on it. You were kind of eyeing that up just shortly, saying, that's a pretty one there.
Yeah.
You know, white baits have been really good, but it definitely produced. That's a good one there.
Yeah, it's dandy.
It's really nice fish. You know, you catch a lot of fish on Case here, and every once in a while, a nicer one comes out of there.
Yeah, that's a dandy.
Good one, but he was like right on the edge of this like cut bank out here.
Tight contour.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's a really nice one.
Today we're using a snap weight technique. We're using a 6-ounce weight, and basically we're doing this to be able to follow the contour tightly and make quick adjustments. For example, this weight, we're running a 30-30 method, so I'll let out 30 foot of line, hook the weight on, and then let it out an additional 30 feet, and that'll put us close to the bottom where those walleyes are lying tight. And then we run that in combination with Leadcore. So for example, our snap weight system, we only have 60 foot out. The Leadcore, we're running 160 feet. So if the lure would happen to pick up some debris or get a little fish, this method prevents the lure from crashing into the other lure, and it allows you to make quick adjustments and quick turns without tangling your lines up.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkley. Catch more fish. Lowrance. Find, navigate, dominate. Precision trolling data. The authority in diving depth info. Strike King. A legacy of domination for 50 years. And Power Pole. Total boat control. Topics, leading information, and tackle and techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
So the 2019 open water fishing season's coming to a close. And one of the things I really wanted to talk about was the performance and what I thought about the new Mercury Pro XS. And I had the ability to run it for a lot of hours. I had it on my ZV20 all year long, the 300. Also had the ability to run it on the Targus quite a bit too. And with having over 150 hours on my tournament boat on the main engine this year, the things that I noticed first and foremost was the fuel economy changes. I mean, absolutely incredible. Obviously it's a 4-stroke, it's got a great sound to it, but the fuel economy is great. I mean, I was seeing 22.5 to 23 gallons per hour wide open at about 60 miles an hour on my ZV20, which for an engine size like that and a platform like that is really pretty unheard of. So your range is going to be long. The whole shot's really good. Where I was extremely impressed was the mid-range. And the mid-range, what that does for a walleye angler on a deep V fiberglass boat like that is basically gives you ability to crawl waves really quickly. You know, if you're going 20 and you need to get to 30 really quick, you see that responsiveness. Had the ability to run the 225 quite a bit on an aluminum platform. This is a Targa 19 right here as well too. You are on plane instantly, and the top end speed something that we've never seen in aluminum boats. So if you're in the market for a new deep V fiberglass boat or an aluminum platform, or even to repower one of those hulls that you've had in the past, check out the Mercury Pro XS. The performance and the fuel economy, absolutely incredible.
While different versions of white crankbait colors have been very successful for this Francis Case Missouri River Reservoir walleye and sauger bite,
Got big teeth for a little guy. Yeah, man, the size of them.
it's pretty obvious which specific color choices have been the most dominant.
Very nice on Rico Suave. He hit Rico. Rico Suave, racy shad. That's
We got the flavor they want.
The jointed seem to be the ticket. Oh, you sneaky bugger. You put a different color on. That's not fair.
You gotta take all the advantage I can get with you.
This is one of them fire tails, got the bright red tail on it. When you're out crankbaiting like we are today, one of the things you really got to do is try and wire up the pattern, and that means two things. First of all, figure out what style of crankbait you should be running, and secondly, of course, what color. We got 4 rods. I actually started out with a couple jointed flicker shads and a flicker minnow and a standard flicker shad. We had heard that white was doing good out here, so we went with some whitish patterns, some white in them. Now, it became real obvious pretty quick that the jointed ghost glitter there was catching more fish than any, but the regular flicker minnow was also doing pretty good. So the next thing I did was took out a few of the colors that weren't producing as well. I put another flicker minnow in the lineup, kind of more white, but I also then put another jointed one in that was similar. Still had a lot of white in it, but now a little bit of a purple, the Uncle Rico. So what I was trying to do still is figure out what was the best bait, but we're starting to move towards the right colors. Now, after a little bit of running this combination right here, it became real obvious that the jointeds were way out catching even the flicker minnows. So at that point, we went away from the flicker minnows and we went just to the jointed flicker shads. We stayed with the 2 on the outside here, the Ghost and the Uncle Rico. And then we just started going through different colors. You know, this red tail, this cougar-y looking thing. This one has purple and white in it. It should have been good. It wasn't. So we eventually got down to where we were only fishing those 2 colors, and then again occasionally putting in other ones. But that's what we went through. We developed which bait style was the best. Then we went through colors to figure out which was the best there, and by the end of the day, we had wired the pattern. I saw the old rod just...
I think you're gonna need the net.
Yeah, I'll just move this out of the way first.
Oh yeah, yeah. Good head shake.
Oh yeah, this is on that weight. Here comes the weight. Get this weight for you here. All right, it's all yours.
All right.
In fact, I'm gonna move this Leadcore some more. It's gonna... Oh yeah, there he is.
Barely hooked. Yeah, it's not hooked very well. Yeah. Better
He's a good mouth.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Barely hooked. I'm gonna go with the full extension here. You can come a little bit more. Yeah, there's a good one. I saw it was barely hooked, so I wanted to get out there nice and far to try and get him.
Awesome.
It's the nice thing about that net, you can really stretch out and get them. Look at this thing was close to the bottom. It was digging bottom, got some debris on there, but the one thing nice about these jointeds is they seem to have plenty of action, where even if you pick up a little bit of debris, it's still working down there.
Yeah, Fireline leader too really makes it nice.
Yeah, keeps it pounding a little harder, but that's a good fish there. That's one of these overs that you're looking for here in the. Most of the Missouri River system has a 20-inch size. They call an over. That is, of course, called an over, and you can only keep one of those a day. We're going to let him go because I actually like eating a little bit smaller ones. But yeah, that's a nice fish right there. Yeah, he's got a little chunkiness to him, a little width on him, but he ate one too many things.
Like me.
Well, we'll still let him go. Even though he made one mistake, we'll still let him go here. Oh yeah, and he wanted to go fast. Catch a bunch of fish, and right away I thought about the Francis Case Reservoir and the Platte Creek. Did I do it this time?
I'd get so tongue-tied.
Fish in the reservoir this time of year, especially because of the high water. Didn't I talk about this already? Fishermen love colors, and I tell you what, so do to me, the Dacron ones actually follow the bait, the lure, or the. I'll start over.
You stab them, we'll slab them.
What's that?
You stab them, we'll slab them.
What?
You stab them, we'll slab them.
That was kind of like a samurai hook set you put on it there. What was that about?
John Belushi. Making my arm tired.
Your arm is tired.
My arm is getting tired.
Yeah, you can only catch so many in a day, you know. What's the word there? Fishman?
I think he's not what we're looking for.
The next bite would like to thank Platte Creek Lodge and Guide Service. Platte Creek Lodge offers a full-service guide service for hunting and fishing. Whether you're interested in chasing walleyes on the Missouri River or pheasant, turkey, or waterfowl during the hunting season, please call or text Platte Creek Lodge at 605-941-1679.